Greetings and good health to you during these difficult times of COVID. And welcome to another episode of Open Up with myself, Sello Kanube. And as always, we always start with nuggets of wisdom. And today's nuggets of wisdom, we are getting them from Alana Hunt. And it reads like this: it is only when you take responsibility for your life that you discover how powerful you really are. And as always, I have a special guest. We only get the special ones, the best ones, those who strive and take responsibility for their lives and show how powerful they are. And she was named South Africa's Disabled Sportsman of the Year 3 times. And she is a South African wheelchair tennis player. And in 2018, she became the first black woman to compete at the Wimbledon. Please allow me to welcome and open up with myself, Sello Kanube, Kgothatso Montjane. When did you do mail?
I do well, Ntate.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks. Dumela Loyana to the viewers at home.
Yeah,
they enjoy this conversation.
No, thank you, Ma. Thank you, and thank you for honoring us with your, with your presence and coming to have a chat with us.
Oh.
Up until matric.
I speak this of Tata.
Oh, woman, problem not so. You know, but okay, live can access very good command.
Yeah, so I say,
you know,
so Tata.
All right. So, when tell me, who guy?
Ke motho ele gore ke belegetse Limpopo. And I was born with a congenital disability, which, forced the doctors to end up amputating my left leg.
Okay.
So I'm on a prosthetic leg, which is known as an artificial leg. So I've been using it, since I was 12 years, because I was amputated at the age of 12. And then, obviously, because my parents ended up taking me to a special school, Limpopo province.
Okay.
So I went to a special school where I met up with other kids with disabilities.
Right.
So it was quite a great environment for me to be in, because of
exactly, yes.
Because you are not fast enough for them.
Exactly,
so being at that school, it was just a great environment for me to grow up in. And the very same year, I was recruited into, a sports team.
All right,
so
okay.
That's how I became an athlete.
Okay.
So it started there.
All right. When we are growing up, there's, but again, little things. But what is it that when you were growing up that just made you to feel or know, I am,
I think for the mere fact that I went to a special school,
yes.
Because when you're in that environment, there's just so many kids with different disabilities.
Right.
And you look at yourself, you look at them, you can see what they can do, and you just owe it to yourself that I can do better. When you see someone without arms trying their best and showing their abilities, that's very encouraging and motivating. So for me, I feel like growing in that environment, it sort of shaped me, it has inspired me a lot.
Yeah.
Because coming out of that environment, I think I didn't see myself as a person with disability, but I saw myself as someone with a lot of abilities, It really shaped me well.
Yeah.
It's something that groomed me and made me who I am today.
I have a daughter, but she's deaf, and it is always amazing how when you have a certain disability, that people always have a way or it's like you are not how I fell, you are not complete. Did you come across those?
Yeah, most definitely. I normally say, like, when you're born with disability, when you come into this world, already everyone has a certain mentality about you, a perception about you, that you can do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. Of which I feel like, as people with disabilities, we also deserve a chance, because we are as human as everyone. We have our own abilities. And it's just tough, because we have to prove to the world that we are as good as anyone.
Yeah.
So that's just a challenge, and it's out there. But the best we can do is to keep educating people that, disability doesn't mean you are incapable.
Yeah. Because sometimes I think, in fact, I remember when I discovered what my daughter is deaf, people always, deaf, she's deaf and dumb.
Exactly. That's how it used to be in the past. You used to hear a lot of
that. When people see a disability, how I felt.
Which is just it's just those bad stereotypes, as people with disabilities, we also deserve a chance to be human at the end of the day.
Right.
We are human.
Yeah. When I did my matric, I did. There was a guy like Kibukaba. He's passed on now, and may his soul rest in peace. And Lucky is blind. Was blind, and. First time, my first introduction, walk out like, hey, hi, Lucky, who and then one twara, and then, he feels me. He said, oh, okay, no sharps. And the following day, hey, Lucky, who are Lucky? Like, Kemang, like when David. Aramanitamo gile answara ara Sello skatsamika kan and we had a lovely thing when we met, I think maybe after 20 years, because herko pana or monna or ewena hertoma first quarter to number 1 ka mutlase.
Yes.
But after that kautuba because that was the last time.
That's the thing.
It's number 1 class.
That's the thing about blind people. They are the smartest people on earth. But people think just because they don't have their sight,
that's it, yeah,
then it's done for them. So hence I'm saying we just have to keep educating the society, the world, about community of people with disabilities. It's only 15. I think it's only 15 million of them, or billion, I don't know the numbers, but of them in the world. So the best we can do is just to keep educating people.
And the amazing thing, like, it was also, like after 20 years, like, you could remember everybody who was in our class.
Yet we forget people that we met yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And so this in itself, when you have a certain disability, and I see it with my daughter, for instance, Leanne, because she lip reads, and I cannot, and but he will basically pick up hore. Did you find like having yours, it actually maybe enhanced something in you along hore other people don't have?
Like I just feel like for everyone everything is different, it's like when they say, like, there's a snake coming,
right? Yes.
How the adrenaline
rushes
in. For me, I feel like if I start hopping, I will move much faster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll be like, why don't you just run with your prosthetic leg? But I don't feel safe with it. It's not something that I was born with.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so people need to realize that it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's how we get different tasks done in life, in different way, because we just have different capabilities, to be honest. And we just deserve a chance to just do it our way. We are very much capable of being human and just handling life the best way that we could.
Memories of childhood that you have that you know or somehow like there are certain things that or like when you look back you realize hey, actually this is where Kotatso was actually forming to be something that I have turned out to be today. You know, what was there? Do you have a moment like that?
Look, I feel like I grew up as a very ignorant kid. When I look back, I feel like that most of the time because, yeah, when I started playing sport, for me, I just thought it's something that's being done after school, you know, because I didn't know much about sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a household that didn't even have TV. So the only sport I knew it was just soccer because it was played on the streets.
The streets, right?
So
right.
for me, when I started playing sport at school, I just thought it was just an extramural activity, something to do after school to keep busy in the school premises, something to stay out of trouble.
Right, yeah.
When in school, you can be in a lot of trouble because it feels like you're just in this area and there's not a lot of stuff to do. So,
was it a co-ed, boys and or was it the girls only?
So people were always in trouble. So
Yeah.
for me, I was like, okay, I mean, this is a thing to do after school, weekends. So I just felt like it was something that would keep me busy. But as I grow up and realizing sport actually is much bigger than an extramural activity, I'm like, I mean, if I knew earlier, maybe I would have, taken it a bit more serious. But
Right.
I just realized that it was just a God-given talent. I was just talented in sport, hence I was just excelling on it. But I just feel like if I knew earlier what was it actually that I was doing, I would have taken it a bit serious. But I'm glad it still led me to
what kind of a child were you? Were you naughty?
Not really naughty. I wasn't naughty. I was actually I was a chill child. Like I still am
Like
a
you
chill
are now.
person. I'm still a chill person. I didn't like a lot of crowds because there was always trouble and problems. with crowds and a lot of friends. So I've always been that kid who didn't have a lot of friends at school. And I think I was just happy that sports discovered me when I was still young because then it became my thing. It consumed me.
Right.
So it kept me away from the people. People used to be like, I'm antisocial because even now, like, any best friend from high school, I'm like, I don't have a friend.
So whether you're the kind of person, or in fact, there's a woman by the King Oriah, the mountain dreamer, and he talks about a person who can be alone and be comfortable, with their aloneness, or enjoy the company of being alone.
Most definitely. I normally say I'm a homebody, and when I try to make friends, they'll be like, you're boring, let's go out. I'm like, like I just feel safe when I'm at home because, like I said, I never liked crowds. People want to go out in crowds, and I'm like, I feel lost when I'm in the crowd. I don't like that. So I can assure you, I'm not bored when I'm by myself.
There are a couple of things that I think I'm discovering that me and you are sharing. Okay, so one is this one, that I can be alone, but doesn't mean I'm lonely.
Thank you.
So here you are. I mean, when you are alone, what do you do? What? I mean, how do you keep busy? How do you keep yourself excited?
I read a lot. I watch a lot of, documentaries on TV. I prefer to watch movies that are based on, true story.
Right.
So I like watching things like that on TV. I watch a lot of sports. So I also try to do music, but just for fun.
Yes.
With all the gadgets that I have, I discovered they've got cool apps.
Hey, I'm going to make a date.
No. It's just for fun. Because also playing tennis, they call it a very lonely sport because you're forever on the way by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I'm traveling or I'm out there by the hotel room out there, I'm just doing things like that. If I'm not reading, I'm just trying to do that music, but it's just for myself.
Yeah.
Because that's what keeps me busy. You know, I do that music and watch documentaries or read. That's what keeps me going.
Earlier on, when you spoke about the prosthetic, there's a movie that I like. Now that you're talking about movies, and I want to hear your movies that that you like or that stands out for you. The movie that stands out for me is Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino.
Okay.
You know, and he plays a blind person in that movie. Towards the end, he sort of like represents an aid on Amutusa,
yes.
You know, because he had actually taken a weekend away.
Yes.
But now, and this boy in the banal problem was you know, he couldn't. He didn't have his parent to represent him, and he actually stood up and, you know, decided to represent him as his parent, you know. Yes. And he has a big speech that he says there, and one of the lines that stood out for me when he said his speech, he says, you know, there is no prosthetic for an amputated spirit. In moments, you know, where you find that you know, despite the disability, but somehow your spirit, you feel like it is like, have you ever had that kind of a feeling?
I think I experienced it, and I'm still experiencing it in the sport where I am. Because I mean, I play tennis,
right?
And tennis is known to be a white man's sport.
No.
And I'm from Africa. And the first thing I asked myself when I got an opportunity to go play out in the world, it's like, where are people like me? And you find that there are no people like you. It's only white people. I started reading about it. That's when I knew why it's called a white man's sport. And the support that other kids get out there, it's not the same support that I get here at home. And I used to ask myself, why? I mean, I'm playing tennis at the highest level.
Right.
And at some point whereby my career nearly ended simply because there was no support. I mean, I
think I remember reading about that.
That's 2018, before I went to Wimbledon.
Yes,
so
yes.
At that point, I just felt like, why am I doing it? It's not worth it. Why do I have to keep waking up every day and doing this thing that nobody cares about?
Yeah.
You know, so that's when I felt like,
no,
maybe it's time to call it a quit.
Yeah. But you held on.
That's a thing.
Why?
That's a thing.
Why did you hold on to
it? I think maybe it's God, you know? Because at my lowest moment, something good always happened.
Right.
Because here I am, I'm somewhere in Paris playing a tournament, and they're like, you actually just got an entry into Wimbledon. You know, when I'm thinking I'm playing my last tournament in France,
that's it.
And then another opportunity comes up. But then instead of be like, but I can't even get there. I'm like, I'm not missing this prestigious event.
Exactly.
Everyone always makes noise about Wimbledon. I don't know why I get the strength. I made a plan to make sure that I get to Wimbledon. And I think...
Are you religious?
I am. I think I am.
Or spiritual, I mean, you know.
I mean, I have a faith. I believe in God. I'm not a church goer and all that.
Yeah.
But I do believe in God. And I just believe He's the one who kept me in there. Because when I was experiencing all that, I can't tell you where do I get the strength to just like get up and do it over and over again. So that's how the whole Wimbledon thing happened. And being at Wimbledon, it made everyone happy, and I was like, I mean, if that's how I can touch people, it means it's the right thing to do. It means I'm doing something right despite all the challenges. So I think during those moments, at some point, I felt like I can't do this anymore. It just confuses me. It just throws a lot of stress on me. It just felt hard.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Here's the thing that we have in common. Table tennis. I used to play it when I was I think 17, and I kind of liked reading about how, for instance, it sort of helped you to make sense of tennis itself.
Yeah, I think maybe table tennis, it was supposed to be the sport for me, I played that. The minute I joined the sports team, table tennis, it was one of the sports that they taught me, So I feel like if I were to make a choice back then, table tennis, it was the sport. Like, this is the sport I want to specialize in. Because how I got into tennis, and I'm like, today I'm a tennis player, people just be like, you are kidding us, because first of all, I was forced to go try tennis because I'm like, I cannot play tennis. I don't know what is it. I've never seen it. And I heard people talk about tennis in the school, but I've never seen them play tennis. So I'm not the one. But, they were not asking me because I was one of the active kids.
Right.
So I feel like that's where I picked it up.
Right, yeah.
So I just feel like it's also just God-given talent. Because first time I went to tennis, I saw other kids, doing this, doing that, and I was just like, I can do this thing. So I picked up the racket and started playing from the word go, and they were like, oh, you've got a potential. But for me, I was just like, I'm going to university next year, so good riddance. I'll just do it for this term, and I'll be out of it. But I was just lying to myself.
I used to like making the pencil dinging.
Yeah. the bat.
Holding the bat.
I feel like table tennis, it was more entertaining. But I think having the skills in that sport, it really, just did well for my tennis.
It actually formed a nice foundation for you.
Because I knew nothing about tennis, to be honest. I've never seen tennis being played anywhere. And for me, it was just for the first time.
So who introduces you to this tennis world?
Look, I'm at school and one teacher comes and be like, you come. You're going to Pretoria to represent the school with tennis. And I'm like, sir, why me? I don't even play tennis. I mean, I heard people talk about tennis. I can look. I'm happy to go around this school and look for those people, but it's not me. It's like, I'm not asking you. You're gonna go represent us. So,
Did you know that you were playing?
Yes,
tennis, table tennis.
Yes, they knew I was. I was one of the best athletes at school when coming to sports. From athletics, wheelchair basketball, table tennis.
Well, another comment. I used to play basketball too.
So that's where it all came up, I think, because I was just one of those active kids at school.
Right,
so they were not asking me. They're just like, you're going to go represent us. And I tried to, run around it. It's not me. I can look. But they were like, it's you who's going to represent us. And that's how it started. And I just went and tried it out for them. And it just worked out just fine.
And this is something about our culture, isn't it? There are no negotiations. What do you think about that aspect? Culture and all.
It was tough. Because when I tried to let me chip in my 2 cents. Like, are you talking back to me?
Exactly.
Exactly. In my head, I'm like, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I'm just trying to help to look for people who are looking for. It's just not me. So that's how it went about. But we know our culture. When
so,
you're
what kind of a parent are you going to be?
Jeez. I think I'll be a strict one. Growing up with strict parents. I think being strict really shapes kids. Because I know these days they'll be like, you need to go easy, don't be hard. But there are certain things you just need to tighten up the screws, So I just feel like that strictness shouldn't go away. We're not saying hate kids and do all that, but they need to be a proper discipline. Yes, there must be a proper discipline. Kids needs to know what discipline is, what respect is, and yeah, I mean, we live in a different
in a different world now. I've got my rights.
Yeah, but principles are principles. Principles are principles. So I think I would be that kind.
So you would comfortably say that you are steeped in your, I guess maybe like traditional ways or culture. You are not somebody who wavers into some modern and some manje.
No. I mean, we love technology. It makes the world go around easier. But we have our own principles, to be honest. So we have our own principles. For me, I feel like principles are principles, must be applied. Doesn't matter if you take your kid to the best school in the world. They need to know that they are principles, and we are people of culture, and that's why other countries love Africa because of our culture, because that's what makes us. So.
What was your first international trip?
My first international trip, I went to Europe. You know the weirdest thing?
Where in Europe?
I went to Holland. And I went to the UK back to back, and Belgium, I think.
Right, yeah.
And the weirdest thing I found about the Europeans, because you're coming from Africa, and you're just like, it's like we are like Americans. You greet everyone. When you come across everyone, you're just like, hello, and they just look at you.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like,
hey man, Butobukai.
You know? But then it's just Europeans being Europeans.
Yeah.
When I find out, they'll be like, why should I be friendly to you if I don't know you? So you're like, oh, so you guys greet people that you know. I mean, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, because where I come from, it's only normal.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you know the person or you don't know the person, but it's only human to do that. That's how we were raised.
Yes.
So it used to be weird. And I used to feel
my first culture shock. My first culture shock my first trip was UK, and we get there, and I think from the train, and then as we're walking down the street, and there were two white men digging on the street, and I was like,
well,
they can also do this because we grew up in apartheid times. You will never see a white person with a shovel or with a pick.
True.
Any cultural shock except
Yeah,
to add on
true.
the greeting.
It's shocking when the hotel mate white. You're like, ooh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Do I have to make up my bed after this?
Yeah.
Such things. It's quite weird that living in Africa, we are not open to the world, because that's why we get shocked when we see people in the UK doing jobs like that. It's a white country, so people need to do that job. I mean, being from Africa, having to explain to people that Africa is not only for blacks. People don't get that.
I mean, I've grown up, living with the history of apartheid and of white supremacy.
Yes.
And white people, it's white supremacy, thinking that they are better than us.
Yeah.
Has that maybe also, have you ever encountered elements of that in your life?
I think for me, knowing that that's our history, and people in the past dealt with that more than I dealt with it. So when I'm out there, I think I understand better. So even when you see that incidents like this could be related to that, you just sort of become a bigger person. You just want to be a bigger person and not cause drama about it. And you don't want to be like, but that's racist, because then people start looking at you like you're a politician and stuff. But sometimes I'm at the point whereby I just try to use a better language to be like, this is how it's addressed. That's not how it's supposed to be, so I try to be a bigger person. Like one time I'm in Holland, they've got this blackface thing every year or whatever it is, and this kid's blackface coming, trying to give people love it, and people don't understand how we black people feel about that.
Yeah.
And people just like want to talk about it like it's something that's okay to you.
Yeah.
So you just have to be a bigger person and be like, I mean, it's your culture. So if that's what you guys celebrate, who am I to be against it?
Exactly,
so I'll just keep my opinion to myself.
Right.
But I'm just going to distance myself from this whole thing, you know what I'm saying?
Well, school, education-wise, how far did you, what are you specializing in?
Yeah, I mean, I still studied, sports. I went to do a degree, BS in Recreation and Leisure Studies, which is still related to sports.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still pretty much in sports. That I never got a chance to really go out and do it in the work field because I've been an athlete, I don't know, since...
Yeah,
I've just been trying to get a luck in this, making a sport a living, so yeah.
Are you ever thinking of, retiring? Or do you consider retirement at some point?
Yeah, of course, I do. I really do, because, sport is a short career, It's just that I started really late. I started playing at the age of 19. That's when I was introduced to sports.
Right.
So for me, I feel like now that's when I'm trying to peak, because I started late, so... But I'm thinking about it, life after retirement. I think I've done my best. I've done my best because I've just been trying to catch up in the game of tennis. So I'm starting to look into that, life after tennis, what to do after that. Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
I think I like The Eagle. Yeah, I think they call it The Eagle. It talks about this guy who's trying to make an Olympic team.
Okay.
And I think he was doing ice skating or whatever it is, and he kept failing and failing. And one day he just sort of, break the record, qualified, and he was just happy to make it to the Olympic team without him. I mean, he went to the Olympic, he didn't even medal, but for the fact that he failed so many times just to qualify.
Yeah.
And, when people look at you like, why are you still doing it? It's wasting your time. Everyone is discouraging you because you're not getting it right. But he never gave up.
Yeah.
He never gave up. He kept trying and working hard, and he finally made the Olympic team, and for him, that was a huge achievement. So I love that movie because people don't see the struggle behind the success.
Right.
People look at you and be like, "Why are you not winning this? Why you?" But they don't know what goes behind this in your struggles, your failures. People don't see that. People just want victory. So as an athlete, you try to do it for yourself, because when you try doing it for the people, it becomes even harder, because now you're not meeting your own expectations, but you're meeting other people's expectations. So you just have to go out there and do it for yourself. Not even in sport, everything that you want to achieve.
In life,
Trust your own process and focus on your own process, because one day it will just pay off. Don't do it for the people.
I watched the final. Novak and is it Medvedev?
Yes, Medvedev at the US Open.
Yeah, the US Open. Yes. And it wasn't a nice one for Novak.
Yes.
It wasn't a nice one. I mean, he actually even broke the racket, in frustration.
Yes.
How do you deal with those kind of moments?
Yeah, it's it's part of the game. It's part of the game. You need to stay mentally strong. You need to stay composed, but we all know that Novak didn't have a good Olympics. Obviously, going into the US Open, expectations were high, and looking at Nadal wasn't even there, Federer wasn't even there. For him, I feel like he felt like he got this, and obviously he's chasing a record.
Exactly.
For him to would have won that match, it would have made him on top of Roger and Nadal, and he's been chasing this guy for the longest time. So you have to understand the frustrations that this was the opportunity. And for him it's just to go back and regroup and just come back stronger.
But it's a lonely place being there. How any moments that you can recount of just being there?
I think that's the thing about tennis. most of the time you are all alone. You know, you can work with your coach, they can be there, but once you step into the court, it's just you. How you apply yourself, it's just on you, and that's why the mental part of the game, it's very important to train your mind really, really well to be able to handle all the conditions, all the situations that you can encounter. And the most important thing is to be able to know how to let go. I mean, because one bad match can affect your entire season. So that's what we teach ourselves. Like, it is what it is. That's what happened. On to the next one. We learn to let go. So
you know, sometimes in life, you know, what people attach and see as your achievement, you know what I mean? It is, or even maybe your highlight. It is the highlight that they see, but there are highlights or even maybe moments of triumph that you know, hooray, this is actually me, and this was, you know, like my feeling where I have triumphed despite everything. You know, I'll share one moment with you. The way I was going to do a play, and 3 days before the show, I didn't know the lines, and it's a one-man show. You know what I mean? I mean, people would look at the awards and everything. But I think for me, to learn a play in 3 days, you know, and an 80 minutes play, and I'm alone on stage, was like, nah, I got this. You know, nobody knows about it. But hey, man, I got this. Have a moment like that for yourself where, you know, it was just yours. I mean, everybody was like, okay, fine, but you knew, I got this.
Look, I feel like I had a lot of moments like that, to be honest. I had so many moments like that whereby I go to tournaments by myself, but nobody knows about that some tournaments I just pitch by myself, and you know, but what stands out, it was the Wimbledon story in 2018, whereby when they tell me that, hey, you got an entry to Wimbledon, and I'm like, geez, that's exciting, you know, from being that sad person playing the last match to like, I have to make a plan. I have to make a plan. There's no way I'm missing this tournament. I make a plan and I go to Wimbledon, and I get to Wimbledon. I win my first match for the first time playing on grass, and I'm like, this is it. If this was my last match, I'm happy. And when everyone hears that I went to Wimbledon without a coach, everyone wants to make a big deal out of it. Like, did something like that happen? And I'm like, sometimes you just have to do it for yourself.
What do you think of support for the sport?
You know, there's really not a lot of support for tennis in this country. But, you know, things can get better. I normally say with what I'm doing at the moment, as long as I can keep performing at that highest level and people keep hearing about tennis, maybe there won't be change.
That's it,
I'm just like, I'm out there as a beacon of hope. I'm using myself as that.
Right.
As much as I want to achieve some of the goals that I set myself, I just feel like I just need to hang in there simply because what I see at home, it's not what's happening in the world. And how can people at home see this differently? You know, one has to keep doing it and in a right way, because when you keep excelling, then you motivate or you encourage kids to take up the sport.
To a young girl out there, what can you say to them?
I just want them to know that their dreams are valid. So if you have a dream, keep believing it and keep going for it, because your dreams are valid.
What is your dream?
My dream is to touch lives and hope that they can make change in their lives.
Khotatu, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for according us your time and for the conversation. It was lovely to hear your insights, you know, and I wish all the best, and may that dream of yours be realized. One quote that I once read says, if you want to make your dream come true, wake up.
Yeah, because it's not going to happen in the sleep.
Exactly. Well, there you are. Every young man and young woman out there, just know that your dream is valid. Well, this is me, Sello Kanube, and I am saying toodaloo, arrivederci, salangabotse, bye-bye.